If you say what you want to say and let the words fall out, honestly, I want to see you be brave.
Hi everyone, hope your day is going great so far. I just want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to be here and participate in this seminar where we will learn about the gay man. Today we're going to learn how to recognize and break stereotypes, how to understand and empathize with the marginalization and oppression that gay men have faced for years and years, some important terminology when discussing the gay man and marginalization, what an ally is and how to become one, and how to support people that we know. To begin, we're going to start with a 1-minute clip of examples of how gay men are portrayed in the media, both on television and in movies. As you watch this clip, I would like you to reflect upon how these portrayals align or differ from your views and interactions with gay men that you've had in everyday life. So just think about that as you're watching, and go ahead and watch this clip, and then we'll come back together and have thoughts.
Sunny. No, I'd be Sam.
If I could turn back time, if I could find a war.
Is that your natural hair color?
Yeah,
It's gorgeous.
thank you.
See, this is the color I want.
This is Damien. He's almost too gay to function.
What's up? I'm Bruno. I'm
Head Milan Fashion Week.
I'm going to wear the jumpsuit made entirely out of Velcro.
Latrell?
What's up, baby girl?
Hi, I'm Kurt Hummel, and I'll be auditioning for the role of Kicker.
Don't stomp your little last season Prada shoes at me, honey.
Action!
Caviar, Myanmar, mid-sized car.
You may find this very hard to believe, but I'm gay.
Okay.
So, what did you guys think about that? Do these perceptions align with your perception of gay men in daily life? Gay men in the media are portrayed as effeminate, hypersensitive, showing interest in common female activities such as dancing, singing, fashion, etc., and they are overly sexualized. We see Jack from Will and Grace portraying the role of Cher, a female diva. He is asked to play the role of Sunny, but he chooses Cher. We see Janice in Mean Girls saying that Damien is too gay to function, belittling the word gay down to a disease or something that is wrong. Enrique in Legally Blonde is a fashion connoisseur, wearing a bright sequined, extravagant shirt. Kurt in Glee is auditioning for the role of Kicker, showing us that gay men do not have quite the same sport vernacular as a straight masculine man would. Latrell from Key and Peele is listening to hypersexualized music and has a penis dangling from his desk, proliferating the stereotype as gay men as exceedingly sexual and perverse. And then there is Bruno. Bruno is just a ridiculous, exaggerated character, speaking and acting extraordinarily effeminate. Whether we consciously or subconsciously acknowledge these stereotypes, pop culture is a significant part of our quotidian life. When people view the gay man on television like this, or on a movie, it transfers over to real-life perspective. One other point is the gay man is also portrayed in the role of the comedic, supportive character. The characters are not very developed. This shows the viewer that they are not to be taken seriously. This can give the viewer a furtive message that says the gay man is nothing but a comedic relief. Most of the gay characters in these clips are not extremely developed. They are seen as gay, and that is basically all there is to it, which will segue us into the next portion of this presentation, intersectionality. Intersectionality. What is intersectionality? So, in school we learned about this through two women named Rosaura Sanchez and Kimberly Crenshaw. Crenshaw actually was the one who coined the terminology in the late 1980s. She's trying to figure out a way to describe the oppression that women of color were facing. They were facing both racism because they were black, but unlike black men, they were also facing gender discrimination because they were women. So, what is intersectionality? Crenshaw says in her TED Talk that is called The Urgency of Intersectionality that many years ago I began to use the term intersectionality to deal with the fact many of our social justice problems, like racism and sexism, are often overlapping, creating multiple levels of social injustice. Crenshaw used this term as an approach to social justices and injustices relating to the gay man they could feel oppressed because of homophobia, because of racism, saneism, ableism, or anything else, or multiple ones, depending how they identify and their identities. So then we move on to Rosario Sanchez. Sanchez discusses intersectionality in relation to identities and positionings. She says it is how all of our identities and positionings fit together and intersect. Oppression, marginalization, and discrimination upon a person intersect with one another to create a whole picture. This is the idea that all of the pieces of a person come together to create the whole person that is divergent from these single pieces. Each piece is linked and intricated within one another to better understand the whole. Like a road intersects many times, our identity, oppression, and discriminatory sections has many intersections. Let me show you an example. This is Mike. Mike is gay. Mike experiences homophobic slurs and remarks and lack of understanding and empathy every day. Mike's sexual orientation oppresses and marginalizes him, but his sexual orientation is not all Mike is. That is a small portion of Mike's identity that intersects with other portions to make up all of Mike. Mike is also a man, African American, married, a real estate lawyer, father of 3, a Texas native, bilingual, graduate from the University of Chicago, 46 years old, upper middle class, trained pilot, and Catholic. Mike may feel discriminated because of any of these identities or a combination of more than one. So, what happens when we take away all of Mike's intersecting identities and leave him with one? Gay. We do not do Mike justice as a person by omitting his identities and marginalized identifications. When we focus on one portion of his identity, we don't see Mike as a whole. Mike then becomes a one-dimensional character, like the characters from the clip we watch in the story of his own life. To not recognize the intersectionality of a person's identities is to not recognize the person as a whole. To understand and ally with folks, we need to see them for the whole being and not just their sexual orientation, or color, or class, or socioeconomic status. Rosario Sanchez also talks about positions in her essay on critical realism. A position makes up a portion of one's identity, and she stresses the need to intersect positions. In the aforementioned example, Mike's sexual orientation position would be gay in relation to straight, bisexual, asexual, etc. If we just look at Mike's position in regards to sexual orientation, we would not be looking at Mike. We need to emphasize the importance of intersectedness of positionings and identities to create and see a whole. Alrighty, so everyone feeling pretty good on understanding stereotype proliferated by the media and the importance of intersectionality. I promise you we're more than halfway done with this presentation. So let's move on to the topic of microaggressions. What is a microaggression? Scott Lilienfeld defines a microaggression as typically defined as subtle snubs, slights, and insults directed towards minorities, as well as to women and other historically stigmatized groups, that implicitly communicate or at least engender hostility. Compared with overtly prejudicial comments and acts, they are commonly understood to reflect less direct, although no less pernicious forms of racial bias. The way I describe and see microaggressions is, to me, backhanded compliments, and most of the time the perpetrator is not even aware of the racism or homophobism or any other ism that they are proliferating. Microaggressions can be harmful and dangerous to the victim, whether the perpetrator is aware of the microaggression or not. So, as an ally, we want to learn how to interrupt a microaggression. But first, we need to recognize what a microaggression is. So let me give you a few examples.
You're gay. Oh, I didn't know. You don't act gay.
Oh, well... Wait. So you're saying you'd rather take care of your roommate than watch this game with me?
Wow, that's so gay.
Do you know my friend John? He's gay too.
Oh my god, John, you're like my gay best friend.
I don't know if I could be gay.
So those are just some quick examples of microaggressions against the gay male community. If you didn't see anything wrong or out of the ordinary with what some of these folks were saying, try repeating the remarks, but with using the non-marginalized heterosexual community. For example, "Oh, you're straight? You don't act straight." "Oh, you're going to take care of your sick roommate? That's so heterosexual." "Do you know my straight friend John?" Think of how bizarre these sound. Why does it not sound bizarre when people microaggress to the oppressed community of gay men? It has become commonplace in our everyday vernacular. So, at this point, we have gone over this arc of how media has subjugated our conscious and unconscious with their portrayals of gay men, how seeing people for more than their sexual identity and orientation is important through intersectionality, and how to recognize microaggressions. The culmination of all of this learning is tips and tricks to become an ally for the gay community and support our friends.
Just wanna see you. Just wanna see you. I wanna see you be brave.
An ally to the gay community is someone who is supportive of the gay community and the people that the community encompasses, regardless if you identify within the LGBTQ community or not. We at FERC here can be allies to the gay community. There are many steps we can take in order to be allies for our gay friends. The first step is workshops and seminars like these. These are great information to become educated on the gay community. It is a lot easier to stop microaggressions and homophobic slurs if we are educated. There's a lot of local and national websites such as glaad.org with lots of resources and up-to-date relevant information on the gay community. It is very important to become educated. Another way is to support local gay initiatives. Educate yourselves on scenes such as the Summit Scene and Snowmos, which are both local LGBTQ hangouts that are here to support them. There is currently no LGBTQ support group in Summit County. Perhaps this is something we could look into starting. One of the most important things about being an ally is to never remain silent. As said in one of our readings, silence is not an option. When you hear something, say something. Sometimes members of discriminated groups get tired of constantly defending themselves. They are courageous, and one thing that we need to do as allies is be courageous. It takes courage for a gay man to live in this world and be courageous. So we as an ally will also need to be courageous. Thank you all so much for attending this presentation, and I hope that together we can make our beautiful community less discriminated and marginalized for all. I hope you have a little better understanding of what a gay man is up against in terms of stereotypes, discrimination, microaggressions, and more, and I hope you take a little bit of empathy home with you. Please check out the local and national resources and continue your education on the gay community and how to be a better, more supportive ally. Feel free to see me with any questions or concerns, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.